J.R.R. Tolkien, the writer of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, was fascinated by dragons. In his essay on fairy stories, he writes about his childhood, and he says, "I desired dragons with a profound desire." We also know that the very first story that he ever wrote when he was about 6 or 7 years old was about a green great dragon, as he wrote it. We also know that he was fascinated by Fafnir and the dragon and Beowulf, who also battled, among other monsters, a dragon. These great stories from Norse and Anglo-Saxon mythology. Of course, the dragon plays such an important role in The Hobbit when our hero Bilbo Baggins has to sneak into the lair of Smaug. And dragons show up even in the epic history to Middle-earth, the Silmarillion, with Morgoth creating these nasty worms, which are the dragons of Middle-earth. Dragons form a big part of Tolkien's imagination. When he was 12 years old, he was visiting the seaside town of Lyme Regis. And while exploring the shores, he discovered a fossilized dinosaur bone, which in his mind he imagined was the bone of an ancient dragon. Even as an adult, Tolkien continued to write about dragons. In some of his earliest stories as an adult, stories that he originally told to his children, stories like The Hobbit or Roverandom, there are dragons that appear, and Farmer Giles of Ham. Now, Farmer Giles is a story that is not as well known as his other stories, but it was published in his lifetime. Tolkien felt that it was really a text for adults, although it's a delightful read for adults or children alike. But one particular sequence struck my own imagination and got me thinking about dragons, not only from the world of fantasy and great storytelling, but dragons in terms of Christianity, in terms of Tolkien's own faith and his biblical view of dragons. An excerpt from the story goes like this. It was still the custom for dragon's tail to be served up at the king's Christmas feast, and each year a knight was chosen for the duty of hunting. He was supposed to set out upon St. Nicholas's Day and come home with a dragon's tail not later than the eve of the feast. But for many years now the royal cook had made a marvelous confection, a mock dragon's tail, of cake and almond paste with cunning scales of hard icing sugar. The chosen knight then carried this into the hall on Christmas Eve, while the fiddles played and the trumpets rang. The mock dragon's tail was eaten after dinner on Christmas Day, and everybody said, to please the cook, that it tasted much better than real tail. It got me thinking why J.R.R. Tolkien would have a dragon tail served up at a Christmas feast. And it got me thinking about Jesus Christ, the reason why we celebrate Christmas time. And although he comes as a humble baby in a manger, lowly manger, he is in fact the great dragon slayer, according to Christian theology and doctrine. He comes to slay our greatest enemy, Satan, and death, and sin, and bring us to new life. It's very fitting at a time like Advent, which means to come, and we think of Jesus coming to earth in this humble way, but we also get the word adventure from this word Advent. And what's interesting about this particular story, Farmer Giles of Ham, is that a lot of people in the kingdom, Farmer Giles in particular, but also the knights of the kingdom, they were too busy celebrating and holding feasts and enjoying candy and cake dragon tail to actually deal with the real dragon in this particular kingdom, the real dragon wreaking havoc. And so it's a powerful reminder to us as Christians, as we celebrate this Christmas time, as we enjoy the lights, and we enjoy the decorations and the eggnog and all these beautiful things, that we remember who Jesus actually is. That he came not to bring a comfy, cozy life, Sometimes we mistake peace on earth, goodwill towards men, to mean that Jesus came to make our lives better. In fact, Jesus came to die and to raise up from the grave and to conquer death, to slay the dragon. So as we enjoy this Advent season, may we keep in mind uh, who the real dragon is, who the real enemy is. And may we delight in Jesus Christ, who brought us peace, peace between sinful human beings and God himself. Be encouraged this holiday season, and may you have a Merry Christmas.